Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Peks here, and welcome to the last episode in my series From Zero to Hero. And on this last episode, I'm going to cover bits of mixing and mastering. Now, mixing and mastering is a science, and it's something first I can't explain in 10 or 20 minutes. And I'm not probably the best person to teach you, but I do have a decent quality mix sound, as I have 2 releases on a label, and I'm gonna have 2 more a bit later in the summer, so that sort of qualifies me to teach you a couple of ground points. Now, this is what I do, right? This is what I do. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. This is what I do, and it shows results in my technique. Now, I advise you to go watch other people's mixing and mastering tutorials out there, because there's tons of free stuff in YouTube. So let's get started. So there's two key points here. There's a lot of things you can do with mixing, but everything revolves in 2 situations: gain staging and EQing. This is the most important, because you need a proper volume in your mix without clipping, and you need it to be clean, so no muddy mixes or renaissance or anything like that. So you need to have a clean mix and a good volume mix. In order to do that, you need to start doing your level balancing with your instruments. So let's just mute everything. So this is going to be a very fast explanation, because I could sit here all day just talking about level balancing. So I'm just going to teach you like the main idea behind it. So what I do is just go ahead and drop everything about 5 to 10%, and I boost my volume very high on my headphones towards in my interface, so that I can hear it properly. And then I start. So let's start with the basses. Bit more. Now cellos. A bit strong, so more basses. Now violas. So the cello solo stays here. Okay, this sounds properly done, so I'm just gonna rise them all at the same time. Around there should be enough, and you do this to every single section, right? So this is level balancing. I could go way more in depth than this, but I don't want this to be a 2-hour video. Maybe I will do another one just dedicated to mixing, expert, and mastering, but for now let's just go with this. So that's level balancing. Now, the second most important part as well, which I refer to, is EQing. Now, when you come here to any type of instrument, let's say EQing. So ignore this virtual sound stage, because this actually, I don't use this anymore. So this is a old track I've done like a month ago or something like that, which is a remix of a friend of mine. I'm gonna put the link in the description for both tracks. So this is something I've used in the past. I'm not going to use it again, because someone told me not to use it, but this pretty much gives you the space in orchestral position, which I'll explain in a minute. So just ignore that I have this, because it's turned off in the proper mixer. So let's just focus on EQing. So let's go on basses. Now I'm gonna just solo the bass. Let's just drag the mixer out of here. So I cue it like this because the basses the basses sit around here, like this is the body of the basses, but they still have some higher frequencies. However, some of these higher frequencies actually hiss and have this sort of digital. Even though this is recorded by someone as an audio, it still gets transcribed to MIDI and it comes out digital. So it sort of sounds hiss, so like this. So I don't know if you can hear it, but just boost your volume up. As you can see, it hisses until like around 10K, around 10K. And then if you go 5K and lower, you can actually start listening to a little bit of the body. So Usually I cut it right around 10, maybe 10 around here. Not a lot, just a little bit. And on the lookout, you should also, I usually use a bit of low shelf. I don't usually low cut my basses because I want those harmony flavors to come down as well. So usually I just high cut the hiss. I could dip some dBs here to give the more room to the cellos and whatever other instrument I have on this frequency. I think this is fine. So let's go to the cellos. Let's open this. So could just go like low shelf on the cellos. So the basses were sitting here, so I'm cutting around here to give more space. And cutting the highs as well. So let's mute the basses. So there's a sort of a hiss sound, but around here the hiss is natural, but here is just white noise. So just take that off. And this is how I EQ every single instrument. So once you've done with your level balancing and your EQing, you pretty much have a clean mix. Now you need to add some reverbs and whatnot. So usually what I do is come to the bus section, like the string section, and I add a OTT, which is sort of works like an exciter, but it's a compressor. So I keep it upward and downward at 6-10%. I just mess with the depth field, the depth knob, but I don't mess it too much because it gets too brighter. So and you can actually burn the sound. So don't go overboard on this. So I just use it to boost a little bit of the sounds. And I go on reverb. For example, Valhalla has a good preset which is large hole, and I just come here. Usually I take out my pre-delay, add a bit of decays, and I don't use a lot of the mix, perhaps between 25-50% depending on your mix, but around here might be enough. So that's the only thing I do with the mixing. Level balancing, EQing, adding a reverb, and OTT. Sometimes I do sidechain. I can also explain sidechain. So you take the kick. So I have a kick here. So as you can see, I have a kick. So I can come here. So let's say the basses, sub basses are here on this one, which is the sub bass. So I come to the kick, and I go here, sidechain, come here, go fruity limiter, and I come sidechain and kick, and voila, it's sidechain. So in order to sidechain more, usually I use the hits as well. So these ones are the 29, so it's it. So I can actually select that. Come to the brass, sidechain, and fruity limiter as well. Oops. Brass, limiter, the same technique, composition. It's hit, I believe. Yeah, it's hit. So same technique. So usually I sidechain my dry hit trailer effects to the brass section. And my kick to like pop EDM kicks to the sub bass, and that's pretty much it for the mixing. Gain staging, a bit of sidechain, OTT for compression, reverb, and EQing, and that's it. Now there's another important parameter here, which is the panning. Now a lot of orchestras come pre-pan, so I usually don't pan that much. If I do a full orchestral track, I do not pan, but since this has some synths and some kicks and hi-hats and whatnot that are not properly orchestral, I do pan a bit to get that stereo image out, but usually I do not pan because all orchestral libraries come already pre-pan, at least most of them, at least the ones I have. But if you do want to pan, there's going to be a link in the description as well with the photo in the orchestral position. So you just take that and you understand why the basses are on the right, the cellos are on the right as well. Violas usually sit dead center, violins to the left, and the cello solo, which it's part of the cello, goes to the right as well. And the brass section also has the same effects. So it's gonna be, there's gonna be a link in the description with the photo about this, so you'll be able to listen clearly to that. Another thing I do with my mix is the gong section. So as you can see, the gongs have a little bit of delay, so I do EQ it on the same pattern. In this case, I just took off the lows and I keep all the highs perhaps in the symbol like this to give it more space. And what is it? Gongs. Then I use delay. This is I think it's a stock Fruity Loops option. So I come here and just use ping pong and just take a little bit of the input, maybe a bit of the output. And I had a stereo shaper and I placed it a little bit to the left in order to create some space. And that's pretty much it. I don't usually mess with much, about the mix section. Now, the mastering is a science on itself, and it's something I really don't know how to do that well, but this is what I do. I just take ozone and also take a FAB filter and some EQ and just try to cut the lows on 20 and the highs around 15, 16, because you can't listen to this or this, because we are human. We can listen this low or this high. So usually just cut like this. And you can also, for EDM and more synthy tracks, you could go to your mix tab as well, go to your master, and perhaps add an EQ. For example, the FAB filter is perfect for this because I have this preset stereo cut low side. So anything below 50, maybe 20 will be mono. So everything after this is going to be stereo. So this is actually a good point for you to start with as well. And then add TRL compressor, not TDR compressor. Sorry about this. Click compressor, and I just use the mastering preset. Usually I take a bit out of the gain as well, maybe 1 dB, and that's it. I don't mess with it anymore. Then it comes the ozone, which comes the fun part. So I'm not really proficient in using this, but this is usually what I do. Let's forget about the equalizer. I get some dynamics and I get some band gains for you to have more a boost in the sound without distorting, and this is what I mean. So let's start here first. In the compressor, usually I go where it clips. So let's, all right, until it barely touches. So it kind of passes 1 dB. So it's kind of like around. I think around there is good. And then you can actually solo it. This is a good technique. So it kind of distorts. Okay. So lower. Maybe lower. Okay, this is fine. Okay, I don't need to boost it here. It could be better mixed, this sound. The hits especially escape a bit, so we could actually turn them down. Maybe the booms as well. So that should be enough. Let's solve this one. Give it some boost. I think that's enough. Now for the imager, I go full this 100 to 20, like the low bit. I go full mono. You need to click stereoize or this one won't work. So go stereoize. I use everything mono, just a bit of mono on the middle bands, and a bit of stereo on the other ones. Don't go overboard on this one because it's orchestral, so you don't want like anything too synthy. So the point is having a good clear margin in the center, skipping a bit on the left and right, and not clipping like everywhere. So the sound is focused on the center, but there's a bit skipping to the left and right, which is perfect. Now in the maximizer I go with true peak and a ceiling of 1. And the threshold, it depends. You can't add like the threshold like here, where it distorts like everything, but you just want it enough to clean a little bit. So I think around 4 should be enough. So usually this is what I do with mixing, mastering. Like I said, mastering is something I'm still learning. These techniques I actually learned quite a while ago. So perhaps it's time for me to hit back the books and study a bit more about this. But yeah, this is usually what I do in mastering, mixing. And I hope that you guys learned something from this video. As I said before, please do check other YouTubers for mixing and mastering, but this is my way of doing stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this series, and I'll see you later.